I had hoped to do this live training yesterday, but I had a little self-care that needed to happen. I was a little bit sick and allowed myself to recover a little bit more. So we are here today. I will also say at the outset, I wanted to announce the giveaway winner live on this training, the first giveaway for self-esteem without selfishness. But I gave a talk on the weekend and I don't have my laptop charger, and so I'm only using my phone right now, and it has limited capacity to do a lot of things all at once. So I'm going to announce that afterwards. But if you stay until the end, I'm going to announce the next giveaway topic, like the next book and topic that is going to go with it. That will happen next week. So stay to the end if you want to be the first to know what that is. But for today, we are going to be talking about the most fundamental form of self-care, and that is your self-talk. So sorry, my desk is not set up the best. Okay, so I had a bit of a look at the definition of care, like the etymology of it, and I thought that was fascinating. It's from, like, the root word means grief or lament or sickbed. And so care, like the word care, speaks to care specifically of the sick or the dying. And so there's like the action of caring for them, which and so that there's two ways we can think about self-care. We can think about the action of caring for yourself, but then there's also, and this is another way that we use care, it's the care that you have for them, for the person. So when we're caring for somebody who's sick or dying, you realize, oh, this is how precious they are to me. I'm like, I want to give them a level of care that, like, for them to have an experience of care that communicates to them the care that I have in here for them. And I think it's powerful to think about ourselves this way as well. So there's the action of caring, the action of doing the caring is predicated upon the actual care that is behind that. And so like you can imagine, maybe, hopefully not, but maybe some of you have had the experience of being in a hospital, and maybe for whatever reason, like sometimes you just have a bad experience with a nurse, and I have no shade on nurses here, if that is you, but like if there was somebody who didn't really care about their patients, that you're going to have a different experience of being cared for than the person who like deeply cares about every single patient that they come across. And yeah, so the same is true for yourself. It doesn't matter if you are doing, quote unquote, all the right things, if you're ticking off all of the right amount of exercise and sleep and doing just like daily prayer, you're doing all the things that you need to do, and then it's fueled by this self-talk that's like, I'm not good enough, I really dislike myself, and just this negative barrage that is not care of yourself. That's going to be, sure, it's still going to be good for you to do those things, but it's going to be a very different experience than and it's going to fill you up and restore you a lot less than if the self-care is backed by a really genuine care for yourself. And I also want to make the distinction between, so people will often, actually no, the other thing I wanted to say was So if you are ticking all the boxes, doing all of the right things in terms of self-care, but you have negative self-talk going on, like, well done you. That's amazing that you're able to do that. But most of us normal people, it's really hard to get yourself to do those things, like to treat yourself like an asset, to treat yourself like you are worthy of being cared for, if you at the same time don't really believe that you are an asset, that you're worthy of being cared for, that you are irreplaceable, that the quality of your lived vocation rises and falls with the quality of your self-care. Like, if you don't believe any of these things, it's going to be really difficult for you to actually get yourself to take the actions to legitimately take care of yourself. So it both impacts your, like, the care of yourself that you bring impacts the actions that you take, what you decide to do, and it also impacts your experience of taking the actions. So I want to also draw a distinction between self-care and selfishness. So a lot of us, even if you agree with this statement, self-care is not selfish, you might agree with this in theory and yet struggle with it in application. So, and I think this happens a lot because we just don't have good, clear language to tease out the distinctions. So, self-care is legitimate care of yourself that is not to the exclusion of everybody else. Like, I am one, like, there are many people in my life and I am one of these people, and all people matter. And so because I'm one of those people, like, my needs matter as well as other people's needs mattering. That is self-care. Selfishness is I only care about my needs at the cost of everybody else's. Like, I don't really, like, my needs are the number one factor, the number one consideration, the number one priority, and maybe everyone else's needs, they don't really feature at all, or they're just much further down the list. Like, that is what selfishness is. Care of self devoid of care for others. So that's not what we're talking about here. And perhaps you've heard the expression that we want to speak the truth to others. Like, when we evangelize, you want to speak with clarity and charity, like, speak the truth in love, clarity and charity. And I think the same applies in the way that we treat ourselves. So when I say, like, we want to raise the level of our self-talk, what I don't mean is that we just be like, oh, it's fine, like, whatever, however you want to do things, and you don't make any mistakes, and yeah, just, like, take it easy and, like, stay comfortable. Like, no, that is not what I'm saying. We want to speak to ourselves with both, like, with charity and love, like the same love that God has for us. Like, that's the measure. That is how we want to speak to ourselves. And part of that is speaking to ourselves with clarity, like truth, the truth about who we are, whose we are, the reality of the mistakes that we make, the reality of our mission and calling, and where, like, God wants us to be going. And I think if either of them are missing, then you don't really have either. So if you're speaking charitably to yourself without truth, like without clarity, you don't have true charity. It's just like niceness. And then if you're trying to just speak clarity without any charity, then it's not real truth. It's just harshness. So we want both filters of kindness and growth in how we speak to ourselves. And this is tricky because your brain has a negativity bias because, many reasons, but we have a fallen human nature and it is geared towards staying safe and comfortable and avoiding difficult things and speaking, like running negative self-talk is a really effective way, it turns out, of keeping you playing small, staying on the couch, doing the things you've always done, not growing, not getting outside your comfort zone, all of this. And unfortunately, a lot of the things that we love to do, hobbies, things like maybe you enjoy writing, maybe there's a certain sport that you love, all of these things. So many people come to me and they're like, I love doing this thing. It sets me on fire. It lights me up when I do it. But I just can't get myself to do it. I just never do it. Like, it feels insurmountable to get myself to do it. That is this tendency of our brain to keep you like sitting on the couch. That is that inaction. So how do you know if something is missing in your relationship with yourself? If you observe the actions that you're taking in terms of self-care, the results that you have in terms of your sleep, prayer time, so which I'm kind of calling silence in this series, your strength, so like what your nutrition and exercise, your socializing, how you're using screens, what's happening in the actions that you're taking or not taking, and the results that you're getting in all of those areas. If there are things that you do not like, if there are things that are not, if you're doing things that are not restoring you, that are draining your energy instead of giving you energy, if there's something happening that's not life-giving, there is your signal that something is happening, something is missing in your self-talk that you want to have a look at. And there are two ways that we can go about changing our self-talk, which I'm going to call the slow way and the fast way. So the slow way is going to look something like this. If you tell yourself, like, spend a lot of time with, oh, my self-talk is so negative, I have so far to go, I don't really deserve to speak kindly to myself, I haven't earned it, I can't really control my brain, or I know I should speak differently to myself, I know I shouldn't say these things, and maybe if you say, maybe I'll deal with my negative self-talk later. I know that there's all these lies that I believe or that I tell myself, like, they're not really true, and I know they're not the best, but just like, not yet. I'm not really ready to confront it, and I know it's going to take time. And there's a lot going on right now, so in a bit later. And I just have to know that I'm going to do it perfectly, like that I'm going to do it 100% right, and that I'm not going to make any mistakes with it, and that I'll see the results straight away, that I'll get it right, and it'll change things straight away. So that's the slow way. That, like, those beliefs came from how you might, like, what your brain might incline towards, like the way that, how do I put this? It's fundamentally mismanaging the 4 areas of your interior life they're like the pillars that I teach all of my clients. So how you manage your brain, your desires, your decisions, and your relationship with fear and failure. And all of those thoughts, like, they're going to create obstacles in the way. You're going to be like working up against yourself. It's working up against all of those parts of your interior life rather than making them work for you. They're working against you. And so that's the slow way. The fast way has a lot less friction, and it puts your brain, your desires, your decisions, and your relationship with fear and failure, it puts them to work for you. And so here is the self-talk that you want to cultivate to get started on the fast way towards changing your self-talk. So I am capable of speaking truth and life over myself. I can do all things in his strength. I can decide what I tell myself. I want to give myself the genuine love and care that will nourish me. I want to only say things to myself that God would say to me. Right now, I'm just deciding to start. Waiting is the most expensive route. So I'm deciding to start right now, today. God is calling me to invest time and energy into changing my self-talk. He wants me to do this. I want to answer the call. Changing my relationship with myself is going to impact my relationship with him and with everybody else. I don't have to do it perfectly. And I'm not doing it alone. He is going to be with me. That is going to be the fast way. And let me see. So let me start again. Like, this is the essence of all of the work that I do with my clients inside Catholic Time Mastery, my one-on-one coaching. And like, if you know that your self-talk needs a bit of an overhaul and you want to stop putting yourself last, and you want to speak to yourself with that clarity and charity, and you want to put yourself in the order of priorities, like make your priorities the same as God's, speak to yourself the same way that God does, so that you can just live your vocation more fully. And like I said earlier, but I really think the quality of how we live out our vocation rises and falls with the quality of our self-care. And as a flow on from that, like, since self-care flows from your self-talk, like, it rises and falls with the quality of your self-talk. So it's like, it's just so fundamental. And if that is something that has resonated with you and you're like, oh my goodness, definitely I need to work on this and I want to know more, your next step is send me a DM. We'll get a discovery call consultation set up, and you can, like, that is just the best way for you to find out all of the details, and you will at the very least leave with your self-talk will up level in this hour that we spend together. So I would love to hear from you, and I am going to now, so as I said, I'm going to announce the giveaway winner right after this in my stories, but I'm going to share with you next week's topic and the book that I'm going to be giving away. So next week you can win this book by Jess Connolly, Tired of Being Tired. And the topic is going to be on sleep as self-care. And so Jess, if you've never heard of her, Jess Connolly is not Catholic, but she is Christian. And actually, I'll read you the subtitle: Receive God's Realistic Rest for Your Soul Deep Exhaustion. So it's not only about sleep, but it is still relevant. And yeah, it's a beautiful book. She has a beautiful heart for encouraging Christian women. So yeah, I'm really excited to bless somebody with this lovely book. And yeah, I will see you next week. God bless.